thinking about the attitude of 19 out of 20 days are going to be good days. So if there's 4 weeks in a month, 5 working days, a week, you're going to have one really bad day. And that's okay. Embrace the bad day.
Hello and welcome to Center for Victory's podcast of Your Best Day Yet. At Center for Victory, we're here to help unlock, reinforce, and enrich relationships through personal and professional development. I'm Eric Guy, Chief Victory Officer here at the Center for Victory. With me today, special guest, close personal friend as well, fellow Yinzer, Kevin Hare, who is the president of Liberty Insurance Agency. So welcome, Kevin. Appreciate you being on here. I know you're a busy guy.
Thank you for having me, Eric. Yes, of course, anytime. I'm sorry we couldn't do it in person up in the Fawn Bell Ranch.
Right.
Do your podcasters know about NHT?
No, I don't think they do know about that yet. Maybe some of them every once in a while, but I'm not sure they know what it means. So maybe we'll hold off on that one for a little bit. Maybe there's a special podcast just for that.
You're already regretting having me on, I can tell.
No, it's funny because I just asked Tammy if we should shoot something from the hot tub, like literally like 20 minutes ago. I don't know what brought it up, and then you mentioned it again. So, yeah. So Kevin has been around the burg for a long time. As I said, his company, Liberty Insurance Agency, he's second generation. Can you just tell people kind of what you do, Kevin? But more importantly, it's kind of rough on how you ended up in the position that you were in so quickly. But I think it's important for people to understand that because that's been part of your journey and part of your story. Sure. And how you've come through that too, because that's inspiring.
Sure. Absolutely. Yep, born and raised here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, in the South Hills. Started working in a family business at a young age. We would spend Saturdays on the hillside of the office building, coming down Banksville Road, weeding, or taking the copious amounts of boxes to the storage bin. Of course, Dad would always say, it'd probably take us a couple of hours, and then halfway through the day, we'd be at Subway having lunch, thinking that we might be able to get it done before dinner. That was often a Saturday afternoon. Went to school wrong side of the state, Villanova, for a little bit. Didn't pick up any nasty habits like becoming a Flyers fan or anything like that. And started working at my first job in the insurance business after school. I was a marketing, finance, entrepreneurship major at Villanova. Started working for the Hartford Insurance Company for a couple of years, 2 years in upstate New York. I'd always lived in a city, and I thought maybe living in the country is right for me. I'd love fishing, the outdoors, but at the end of the day, I'd much rather live in the city and visit the country versus live in the country and visit the city. So check something off the box, learn something, and got a little bit better at bowling in upstate New York. You talked about, my journey a little bit. That kind of does start up in upstate New York. My dad's father ultimately passed away from kidney disease. And my dad did as well, although unrelated. Early on in his life, he developed colon cancer, was going through the chemo treatments, and got into severe dehydration, and so severe that his kidneys went into slow decline. So ultimately, they knew that he was going to probably need a kidney transplant at some point. I was actually in upstate New York. I got the phone call from Dad, or, we talked every week or almost every day, I guess, just about things in general. And I came down to Pittsburgh and got the antibodies test to see if I was a suitable donor. And it turned out I was. Dad didn't need to get a kidney right now or have the transplant right then. He had some time, but we wanted to kind of go through those steps. He was on the transplant list for the cadaver kidneys, and he got that phone call that a kidney was available. Rushed down to the hospital. They did the surgery, and unfortunately, it was unsuccessful. The kidney didn't take. And interestingly enough, I don't know how this happens, but the antibodies changed, and I was actually no longer a fit to be a donator for my dad. So he unfortunately had to start dialysis, and was on dialysis for several years. Certainly my hero You never hear him complain. He'd be getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I did complain once. He complained about that cop that pulled him over at 5 o'clock in the morning going down this hill to dialysis. What the hell is this guy doing pulling me over? It's 5 o'clock in the morning. Going to dialysis. Leave me alone. But he would never complain and go in to do dialysis. And that's, 4 hours hooked up to a machine. Then would come into the office and work. So yeah, I started back in the agency 9/1 of 06, and I quickly became an agent through and through. I called my first underwriter a box of rocks. On my second day, they weren't doing what I thought they should be doing. So we certainly work for our clients, not for the insurance company. But worked with Dad, it was great. Was definitely a person that called Dad in the office. It is what it is. Some people choose to call him, John or whatever it is, but this is my dad, and we all understand that. So yeah, and then he was able to my mom participate along with my dad in a kidney swap program through Johns Hopkins. There were 6 patients, 3 kidneys flying across the table on that May day, and holy crap, my dad died on that May day, and sorry, you got distracted there. I just realized something that I'll come back later in the story. And it was successful. Mom's doing great. She had the transplant. She only has 1 kidney transplant now. Dad got through that, and kind of life got back to normal. But that dialysis for several years, it really puts a strain on your heart. And 11 years ago today, believe it or not, my father passed away from a cardiac event. He was up visiting his mother in Elmira, New York. And I got the phone call, and he ultimately passed. So, as I tell everybody, I know Dad was going to have the manual of what to do laying in his desk drawer. I'm still looking, although I have taken over his desk, I'm still looking for that manual. Haven't quite found it yet. But I was at the age of 31. Although Dad had some health issues, and we had set up things from a paperwork standpoint to get prepared for this. It was quick and it was sudden. There's no doubt about it. So it was I didn't realize it until we just started talking right now that it was March 8th when he passed away.
Wow.
2013.
Wonder what that's about.
Yeah. Funny.
So probably a dumb question, Kevin, but I'm going to ask it for the people listening and watching. Were you ready to come into that role? Were you prepared?
Absolutely not. And you look back, and the ignorance and the naiveness of youth was my biggest asset. I had no idea what I was doing, but good news was I had no idea what I was doing. Like so many things, it obviously kudos to the entire management team and the entire culture my dad had built. They really, helped me out immensely and understand. And they knew more than I knew that I didn't know what I was doing. Yet they still stuck with all of us and helped from a mentorship, driving the company, growing the company. So I couldn't have done anything without them. So that was really awesome with them. But yeah, like you said, goes without knowing, the naiveness of youth was my biggest asset for sure.
Yeah. Now, what are some of the things that you did to kind of get yourself prepared to take on this task? Because you've done quite well with it. At least from the outside looking in, you've done quite well with it. I'm not sure many people would have been able to do that. Whether you want to give yourself credit for that or not, I mean, you did. That was a big task to take on. What are some of the things that you did to kind of tackle that, if you could remember? I mean,
sure. I can remember driving into work every day, thinking about my dad driving into work every day, thinking about the attitude of 19 out of 20 days are going to be good days. So if there's 4 weeks in a month, 5 working days, a week, you're going to have one really bad day, and that's okay. Embrace the bad day, but understand that at the end, there's going to be 19 really good days. And for better or for worse, try to focus on the big stuff and try not to sweat the small stuff. I think there's a book or something along those lines, and really look at the big picture and treat everybody as a human, because at the end of the day, they really are. As much as you're the big boss and you're the one signing the paychecks, at the end of the day, people are here because they've got families and they've got their own priorities, and you're trying to enable them to achieve their level of success. So it's not about me, it's about you. And how can I invest in you? How can I empower you to make you more successful? Because at the end of the day, if you're successful, I'm successful, certainly in our business and in most businesses as well. And as far as being prepared, you weren't. I think it's that mental, not knowing that I didn't know was the biggest strong suit. There's no doubt about it. If I would have thought about it and said, I don't have this, or not being overconfident and cocky, but just thinking that every day I'm gonna figure this out, and having confidence in yourself that you're going to figure it out, and that you're not going to know the answers to every question, and you're going to have resources and people to bring in to help solve those problems. And then certainly, as you know, 6 or 7 years ago, I joined the Vistas organization, and that was really helpful to have that outsourced board of directors. I really found a lot of value in the presentations and the presenters that would come in. They've written books, and they've can educate you on leadership techniques, how to have difficult conversations. And then certainly, just as you know, developing friendships and the ability, as cliche as it is, that misery loves company, and that you're able to commiserate, share openly, and learn from each other, because at the end of the day, although all business industries are unique and have their unique challenges, there's that common thread as well, oftentimes in and around people, as I'm sure you know very well too.
Yeah. Has it been that long, Kev?
Yes.
Wow. That's wow. So with that, you mentioned the people really, when that happened, when that event happened with your dad, the people inside that company really kind of embraced you. And because a lot of times what will happen is when somebody takes over like that, a son or a daughter,
Sure.
there's some backbiting and things like that. You said that these people kind of came around you. Was that because of what your dad had built with them? Because you still have a pretty good culture now.
Yeah, we appreciate our culture very much. It's very important to us. We like to have fun and do silly games. We have our Deal or No Deal game at every holiday party, which isn't like Deal or No Deal at all, but it's a lot of fun. There's a foil. You can get a honey baked ham or a can of Spam. There's no skill involved, but it's a lot of fun. We do the Liberty Spooktacular, where we're going to have Family Feud. If insurance doesn't work out, I could probably do a halfway decent job of being Steve Harvey, although I'd have to change a few things, but I could do an okay job with that. Eric, did you know miracle modern science? If you take 2 hard-boiled eggs and pit them together, that only 1 egg will crack?
Really?
Really? Now, of course, if you smash them,
Right.
it is what it is. But if you take a moderate amount of force, only 1 egg will crack. And then every Easter time, you can do an NCAA bracket style competition with eggs, and one winner will be crowned in the annual Liberty Egg Crack competition. So it's a lot of fun, except for the 1 year someone substituted in a wooden egg, and that was cause for immediate termination.
That's good to know with March Madness upon us.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
actually good. I hope somebody takes that and does something with it.
Yeah, hard boil some eggs at home. But yeah, so I talk about that, and yeah, I talked about Dad, his humility, his positive attitude, and hopefully some of that rubbed off on me, and I'm certainly, their loyalty to him was more important than any loyalty to me. But I think I helped my own case by being a true human, being humble, being thoughtful, being caring, understanding that every business is a people business, and our people are our number one asset, and trying to support them as much as possible. So I'm sure that helped too. but obviously taking that off the foundation of dad, what he built in his mantra.
Yeah, no, but I think we hear it here and there from you, but what you do, I mean, you're basically selling insurance. Okay.
Yep.
How do you keep that fresh and fun? You've mentioned some of the activities and things, but like even for your clients, because like most people look at insurance and say, "Oh, I just have to get it." What's that differentiator for you guys and what you do for your folks?
So the insurance industry spends billions of dollars telling us how to buy insurance. Flo, Progressive, Geico. You've got 15 minutes. We'll get you a quote, price, quote, shop. On our commercial side, 90% of what we do is commercially oriented. I like to talk about the Schmiddle market, 50 to 500 employees. We certainly have customers smaller, customers larger, but we really feel like we're set up for property and casualty to be that outsourced risk management department. So not only thinking about financing, I give you 100,000 or you give me $100,000. Well, the insurance company, I give you pieces of paper with words on it. It's really important what those words say because I'm dictating of a claim. That's going to indicate what's covered and not. That's what people think of as of insurance. That's the commoditization. But as you look at risk management, you're also talking about prevention, mitigation, transfer, and assumption, and impacting our organizations through their total cost of risk assessment for those middle market companies that may or may not have an inside risk manager, but certainly that person would need support. Conversely, on the employee benefit side, oftentimes there's an HR director or two, and again, they need that same level of support. So really setting up our value-added resources that, oh, by the way, are oftentimes included just in the average or typical remuneration we receive as commissions from the insurance company. So really setting ourselves up to know our customer, know what our customer is looking for, and understanding how we can communicate that we are not just a vendor of a commodity product. If you're looking for a price of a can of tomatoes, a lot of people can get you a price on a can of tomatoes. But if you're looking for someone to tell you how to make the pizza and make it great, that's where we come in.
Okay, so I know you're a big person on just growing yourself, personal, professional development. What has been really important for you to pay attention to over the past decade or so as you've grown? You mentioned Vistage before, which I'm a part of with you, which has been big. I think we've seen growth in each other, but we have the speakers there. What are you looking for to kind of push yourself to that next level and grow?
I think as we all get older, Eric, and life changes, and you think about happiness, and happiness is a funny word, and you want to achieve happiness both personally and professionally. And thinking about goal setting and understanding what goals are going to achieve happiness. People can think of happiness different ways. It can ultimately be success or monetary or a lot of different definitions. But trying to stay centered and thinking about every day is a great day. And how can I maximize each day? Back to that 19-day concept, right? If I can have a great day, because it comes down to having a great day to have a great week to have a great month to have a great quarter to have a great year, but it comes down to having a great day each and every day in order to ultimately achieve that goal. So really getting granular on the day and trying to win that. And then certainly learning from others, whether it's like you said, the speakers. I'm not a huge book person. I love reading the Wall Street Journal or Twitter or something along those lines, or Yahoo Finance. I think faith is important too. I think being faithful, a faithful person, whether that's through a dogma religion or some other way that you find spiritual peace, is really important. And I found faith to be a centering aspect for me. And I guess that's how I do things. What about you? What about you? What do you think? Did I answer your question?
You did. Yeah. I mean, I just because people often ask that question, like, what are you doing? Those kind of things. And I don't know if you caught me kind of smiling and smirking there when you were saying a great week makes a great month, because I've heard you say that before. And I like when you say it. One, I think you mean it. I really think you mean it. You're very typically you're very passionate about a lot of things, but that I think makes a lot of sense. I've not heard before the 19 out of 20. That's what I take out of today. I mean, that's going to be my big nugget. I like that idea of, because I was just saying, yeah, that one day because oftentimes we just, well, me, I mean, I think other people do too. We just fixate on that one day that really stunk, and we forget about the 19, and we
Oh,
don't
the
bring
great
it.
news is I just had the bad day. So I know the next one's going to be better because 19 out of 20 are going to be good. And the good news is this one really stunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it really is. I mean that wholeheartely. Like that's my nugget that I'm taking away out of this interview. Let's talk personal. Okay.
Sure.
You've got two little, beautiful girls.
Correct.
Um, you are, you're outnumbered in your household now.
Yeah. I had to get a new dog to help me
Yeah.
out with the numbers.
Right. What's your biggest challenges, personally?
Um, I think that, I mean, COVID was interesting, right? And so my littlest daughter, Louisa, she's
Mhm.
4, almost 5. So she was born pre-COVID, but as we all know, for those first 6, 9 months, there's no, they're aliens, right?
Yeah.
So she turned 9 months in March of 2020. So basically, as soon as she got any cognitive ability, it was shut down. I can remember her reaction the first time one of her aunts picked her up and said, "You are not my mother. Who the heck are you touching me?" Right? So there was a lot of impact that had on younger folks, and all throughout um, the age spectrum, whether they were in high school or lower and learning losses. And I mean, we're still trying to figure all that out. And people made different reactions. When you finally went out and you went to the playground, parents were making their own choices, and you get it. Hey, my son or daughter is wearing a mask. I don't want them interacting with others. So now I'm correcting them to say, hey, you're about to go play with little Johnny or Susie. Don't do that. That's danger. When you're developing your brain or your emotions, and your parent is telling you don't interact with others, that has an impact. It
Mhm.
does.
Yeah.
And I think we're seeing some of that with some of the classmates, and we're seeing that with our own children as well. So really just trying to be encouraging, instilling confidence, understand that they can do things. That's some of the challenges that we're having with our girls, and really going through that. And they're awesome. They're over at St. Edmunds Academy, and I can't say enough about the facilities and the support that we've gotten through there. And then, yeah, I think it's about figuring out with your spouse. I mean, we all kind of flash back to May of 2020, and we just spent 2 months together and not talking to everybody else, and we've been washing off our groceries. There were some ups and downs there. But at the end of the day, I think having, it's about values. And I do think a lot about the long term and the bigger things. And if you can instill those right values, if you can instill that decision making, at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. Just talking about that with Katrina, my wife, as you met the other day, very quickly. I mean, as you know, because you're already that empty nester, very quickly, your children are going to be forced to make decisions on their own when you're not there. And if you can set them up for success, that they're making decisions aligned with your values 19 times out of 20, I think you're way ahead of the ball game, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. So, you said books. You're not much of a book reader, but what are you reading right now? Because I think that's interesting. Hopefully, that inspires somebody too, because you're doing it because you're living out a dream.
Yes, yes. So, I grew up going to the lake house, and we really enjoyed that part of the experience of growing up, and fortunate through hard work and success that I'm in that process myself. So, reading some architecture books about modern lake house design, which is very exciting. So, I keep reminding myself that I'm not spending all this money on fireworks. There's a value there. As much as I want to spend it on fireworks, I know you're a big fan of that too, right? And there's enjoyment, but there is an investable aspect to a tangible piece of property. So very excited about that. Very excited to invest in memories that you create with your family, because as we first started talking about, man, it all goes too quick.
Yeah.
And, dad died at 63 and yeah, it just goes too fast and too quick, and those memories and those times you don't get back. So, yeah, I love being a family guy, love my family. And, you've taught me too. I mean, you probably talked about in your podcast, the 10-10-20 rule. Have you talked about that?
10-20-10. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
That's important, right?
Having that
Yeah,
undivided attention. Yeah. And that's, there's no better place than a lake house or whatever you're doing where you're kind of out. Yeah. Maybe we need to have NLH here coming soon once the house is built.
absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'll make sure I tell Tammy that after we record this podcast.
Yes, no, there is, and really looking forward to entertaining. And that's something that, I really do enjoy, and I wish I did more of. We're looking forward to doing more of that, and especially using that lake house to do that. And really being able to connect with people and share a few laughs, a few good glasses of wine, a few good dinners. So, yeah, I do really enjoy that. Looking forward to it. So that is the book I'm reading, is a little bit on modern lake house architecture.
Yeah. And I think it is necessary to wrap that in, because it has been a dream. I've watched you say that several times. Hey, this is what we want. This is what we want. This is what we want. So there was actually some excitement for me when you came into a meeting a few months ago and said, hey, we got one.
We got one.
We got one.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. I'm looking forward to that. Kevin, how do people get in touch with you? What's the best way if they want to reach out?
Oh,
Find
sure.
out
Our website is www.libertyiNS.com. My email is my name, Kevin, Heher at libertyins.com. It's pronounced like the hair in your head, the rabbit that bounces, but it's spelled like a compound word, he and her. So Kevin, Heher at libertyins.com, or, call the office. So that'd be great. Love to talk to anybody about anything.
Yeah.
Love people. And that's the best thing about our business, Eric, is it's a people business, and the forming relationship with our clients and customers. And like we say in our office, we're all empowered to go above and beyond, outside of doing anything illegal or immoral. We are all empowered to go above and beyond to deliver truly exceptional customer service, because we've all been on the wrong end of bad customer service. So being empathetic,
sure.
putting yourself in other people's shoes, and then understanding that too when it comes to the subservient leader concept is important too. So, yep, that's how to get in touch with me, and I appreciate you having me on today. So thanks so much.
Yeah. So last question though. Okay.
One more. All right,
We're gonna end with it.
So,
we talk about, this is your best day yet.
Okay.
How would you, and this is wide open, Kevin. All right. How would you define your best day yet, personally and professionally?
My best day yet, personally and professionally. I think it's a simple thing, man. And, geez, great question. And I'm totally stumbling on it. I should have known it was coming. I didn't watch to the end enough of the podcast. Holy crap. The best, this is a terrible answer, but I'm gonna give you my answer. I love to cook, as you know, and people ask me, oh, what's your favorite meal to make? My favorite meal to make is the one I'm making right now. My favorite meal is the one that I'm going to experience with you. Because the fish was fresh, or I got excited about the tomatoes that I bought, or you were excited because you officially requested pasta primavera or whatever it was. I'm going to get excited because it's what you want. And the best day yet's today, and it's tomorrow, and it's the one that's coming up the next day. And I really believe that every day is a blessing, and the best days are yet to come. And I know I'm skirting around the answer, but I truly, truly believe that. So whether it was closing the big deal, or the day I got married, or the day my kids were born, I mean, I remember all those things, and they were tense and they were awesome. But just as much as tomorrow is going to be when we wake up in the morning and we're hanging out, we're getting ready, we're going down to the Light of Life missions tomorrow to do a little charity work. So really looking forward to that. And that's going to be a great day too. So I'm sorry I did a terrible job.
That was probably the best answer I've heard so far after all the people that I've asked. That was actually a very great answer. So appreciate it, Kevin. Thanks for coming on. That's all for today, folks. Thanks for watching, listening. You can hit that subscribe, like button. Make sure you get notified when we post next. You can visit us at centerforvictory.com. And just remember, wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, make this your best day yet. We'll see you soon.